I'm gonna sneeze.
Hello, this is Raymond.
Yeah, and this is Walker.
All right, and today we're going to talk about square roots of negative numbers. Okay. Walker, you know about square roots, right? Remember what the square root of 1 is?
I think, it's 1, right?
That's right, because 1 squared is equal to 1.
Yeah.
But there's another number that's also the square root of 1.
Cool.
It's negative 1, right? Because
okay.
what is negative 1 squared? Well, it's negative 1 times negative 1, which is...
I guess it's 1 if another square root of 1 is negative 1, I guess.
Right. Well,
hey.
Minus times minus is...
Minus times minus would be plus, right?
That's right. Minus times minus is plus. The answer is thus.
Yeah.
Well, what about the square root of minus 1? Now, your teacher might tell you that you can't have the square root of a negative number.
Exactly, because you can't.
But imagine that you could. Imagine for a moment that the square root of minus 1 is equal to, and I'll draw it with this little letter, I.
Is I a real number?
No, it's not even complex. It's pure imaginary.
Okay.
I'll put that down. Imaginary. Now, suppose that we did have that imaginary number called I that is equal to the square root of...
negative 1.
That's right.
And...
Well, it turns out that if I is equal to the square root of minus 1, there's another square root of minus 1. That's pretty tricky.
Oh.
Minus I is also a square root of minus 1. And that's because if you have minus I times minus I, that's like saying minus times minus, minus 1 if you want to put it that way, and then I times I. And we know that if I is the square root of negative 1, then I times I is going to be...
I times I would be negative 1 because...
negative 1.
Yeah.
So here, I squared equals I times I, which is equal to square root of minus 1 times square root of minus 1. And you see, when you see a square root times a square root, and it's the same thing underneath, what are you going to get?
You're going to get
whatever's inside the root, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think now you know what I squared is.
Yeah.
What I'd like you to do is use the associative property to help you.
Associative property, okay.
To help you with this question. What is I cubed? We know I is the square root of minus 1, and I squared is minus 1. Remember that here what we're doing is multiplying. If we take I cubed, what are we doing?
I cubed would be I times I times I.
I times I times I. And when we have a complicated problem with multiplication of 3 different things, what do? We group them, right?
Yeah.
Now, can we group them any way we want to?
I guess.
Why is that?
They're all the same number, right?
Why can we group them this way or the other way?
Because
multiplication is
commutative.
Well, it is commutative. It's associative.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now, what's I times I times I? Well, we can do one of the inner problem there. And what is the inner problem? The I times I. Didn't we already do that?
Yeah, and then negative 1 times I, right?
That's I times negative 1 which is the same as negative 1 times I. We can do it commutatively, which is equal to...
Wouldn't that be negative I because you would take the negative 1 and add a minus sign to the I?
Yeah, that's right. So I times I is minus I. We're going to do another one.
Oh, man.
Which is I to the 4th power. That's I times I times I times I. And we're going to do the associative there. We're going to do it twice. We're going to do that product, and we're going to do this other product.
So if I times I equals negative 1 and I times I equals negative 1, when you multiply those, wouldn't you get 1? Because at the beginning...
That's right.
You should.
So I to the 4th power is equal to 1.
Okay.
Well, we got one more problem to do here. I to the 5th power is equal to...
What's... I. Oh,